Hello everyone, my name is Matt Comstock and I'm the Athletic Director at Bellefontaine High School. Thank you for taking the time to register your son or daughter for athletics at BHS. The online registration of athletes will take place prior to each season, fall, winter, and spring, and should enable for a more streamlined approach for parents, student athletes, coaches, and myself to organize preseason requirements and paperwork. The purpose of this video is to replace the preseason mandatory meeting that the OHSAA requires. It will replace said meeting from now on, so parents will need to watch it for each season their child will participate in, but at least it'll be in front of your computer and on your own time. So let's get started with the meeting. As I've said before, my name is Matt Comstock and I am the AD at BHS. I graduated from here, coached here, and now I get the opportunity to steer BHS athletics for the future. I say all this because I want you to understand that I have a passion for success at BHS in all of our athletic programs and look to ensure that all of our programs are competitive and represent our school and community well. The purpose for this video is to 1. Meet the OHSAA requirement, 2. Discuss changes in the current athletic department, 3. Discuss the BHS athletic boosters, 4. Discuss our athletic training procedures, 5. Discuss our BHS code of conduct for athletes, and 6. Discuss general information regarding BHS athletics. First, I'd like to take a second to emphasize the importance of the BHS athletic boosters. This organization gives thousands of dollars a year to the athletic department, which directly impacts our current students. I ask that you strongly consider helping out and supporting their events. The number one way to do this is to work in our concession stands. The boosters run the East concession stand in the stadium for football and boys and girls soccer. They also run the inside concession stand for volleyball and girls basketball. Please sign up for a shift if your child participates in any of these events. Also, please support the various activities that they sponsor, such as our garage sales, 50/50 sales, reverse raffle, etc. Moving on, in the fall of my first year, I asked Ryan Lane and Bart Patterson to speak to our student athletes. These individuals are arguably a couple of the finest all-around athletes that have ever come through our school. Their message to our current students was clear. Participate in as much as you possibly can. If you enjoy multiple sports, play them. They strongly discourage students from specializing in just one sport. They did not do that, and each of them had great post-high school careers in the sport that they chose that they wanted to play, which was baseball. Next, I would like to make everyone aware that thanks to the generosity of the Mary Rutan Foundation, BHS once again has an athletic trainer. One of the forms you will be asked to sign off on this registration will be a form which allows the trainer to work in conjunction with your son or daughter's physician if there is an injury that occurs during their season. Next, I would like to read the mission statement of the BHS Athletic Department so you as a parent understand my philosophy for high school athletics here at BHS. Bellefontaine High School is committed to excellence in athletics as part of a larger commitment to excellence in education. BHS's mission defines expectations both on the field and off. In the name of excellence, BHS aims for a level of athletic performance that will frequently produce winning seasons and the realistic opportunity to compete for team or individual championships. Our mission also requires that BHS athletes be students first. The focus for each student athlete will always be first to graduate from BHS and secondly to compete in athletics at a highly competitive level. The BHS Athletic Department is committed to providing student athletes with highly qualified, motivated coaches who are committed to making their teams successful as well as being excellent role models for our players. To stay informed concerning BHS athletics, there are several things you can use. First of all, you can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @BHS_Chiefs. You could go to the school website, which is available. Just Google BHS athletics. It's one of the first things that come up. Next, let's discuss the required documents needed to participate in athletics. Number 1, Your student must have a current physical filled out on the OHSAA approved form. Number 2, you must have their emergency medical form, which the coaches will pass out and collect from any student who has not completed or has not competed in a prior season. So in the fall, all parents will need to fill that out. Number 3, insurance information sheet, which you will sign off on during this registration. Number 4, participation contract and our drug screening consent form, which is also done during this registration. Number 5, our concussion form, which is also done during this registration. And number 6, consent form for trainer to be able to speak to the physician, which is also done during this registration. So most of that paperwork's done right here during this process. Just a reminder to everyone that football, volleyball, soccer, basketball, swimming, wrestling, and track all charge admission. Admission price at our gates are $6 for adults, $4 for students. I would remind everyone that we have all sport passes that are available in the athletic office. Those are $300 for a family, $100 for an adult, and $50 for students, and those would get you into all home BHS athletic events. And they also work at the middle school as well. Now let's move on to the Athletic Code of Conduct. The Code of Conduct signed by both the parents and student athletes is currently a 365-day, 24/7 policy and is in effect for students until they graduate from BHS. Points of emphasis are 1. Athletics is a privilege, not a right. This privilege may be revoked if a student is not living up to the specified or implied rules set forward. Number 2. There are academic and residential requirements for to be eligible at BHS. If your son or daughter did not attend BHS last year, this excludes freshmen, so incoming freshmen are okay, but anyone else, if you did not attend BHS last year, please contact me at 593-0545 so we can make sure that you meet the residential requirements. Student athletes must be passing 5 credit hours worth of classes and must maintain at least a 1.5 grade point average. Anyone that receives a 1.5 to a 1.99 will be required to go to daily study tables from 7:30 to 8 in the morning. Number 3, in order to participate on a given day, the student athlete must be at school no later than 11 a.m. If a student is at school and leaves prior to 10, they must return to school by the end of the day in order to participate. Certain arrangements can be made ahead of time if agreed upon by the principal and or the AD. Number 4, if a student receives an in-school suspension, he or she may participate that day if that's their first in-school suspension. If they have received more than one, or they receive an out-of-school suspension, they may not participate that night. Number 5, if a student athlete wants to participate in multiple sports during the same season, they will need to have a form filled out from the athletic office and will need to have a signature from each coach they will be playing for. In addition, they will need to identify which is their primary sport. Number 6, all students are expected to ride district-approved transportation to and from events. Exceptions can be made ahead of time by contacting the athletic director and explaining the emergency situation. Number 7, the BHS drug policy. Students who participate in extracurricular athletics are subject to random drug screening. If a student tests positive, it will be considered a major violation. Other major violations include tobacco use, theft or vandalism, poor sportsmanship, or conduct unbecoming of a BHS athlete. Consequences for violating the code of conduct are, for their first offense, they will lose 20% of the total number of games for that season. Second offense, they will lose 50% of the total number of games for that season. Third offense, the loss of privilege to compete at BHS for 1 calendar year, and the fourth offense will result in the loss of the privilege for the remainder of that student's high school career. If the offense is a drug-related, in other words, it was a positive test, there are additional requirements as outlined in the code. Please make sure to read those requirements carefully. As we near the end of this video, the OHSAA would like for us to point out a few key areas or a few things to talk about. Number one, the use of PEDs or performance-enhancing drugs. BHS is strongly against any sort of PED, and student athletes should not use any sort of supplement either, like creatine, muscle milk, anything like that. It is the belief of this administration that a healthy diet and a strong workout program are the best ways to train a teenage body. Also, the use of any type of steroid is strictly prohibited by the OHSAA and the Board of Education here in Bellefontaine. Number two, concussions. Please make sure that you read the form that you signed off on as part of this registration process. Concussions are a very serious problem, and it is everyone's responsibility to recognize the symptoms and take appropriate measures. The final thing I would like to discuss is parent-coach communication. I expect our coaching staff to provide you as the parent with accurate and timely information concerning practices, game schedules, cancellations, and any other information that he or she has concerning your son or daughter. I also expect our parents and fans to conduct themselves in a positive and respectful manner while attending BHS games, either home or away. There are three areas that I believe are off limits when talking to a coach. Number one, team strategy and play calling. Number two, other players on the team. And number three, playing time. If you would like to talk to a coach about what your son or daughter could do to improve, I understand that. But playing time is decided by coaches, and being a member of a BHS team does not guarantee any certain amount of playing time. Please do not confront a coach before or after a game. I ask that everyone use the 24-hour rule, which means if after 24 hours you're still upset, please contact me in the athletic office and we can set up a time to meet and discuss the issue. This brings us to the end of this presentation, and you have now completed the OHSAA preseason requirement. Please make sure you have completed the online registration completely. Once you have done so, coaches will assign your son or daughter to a specific team, freshman, JV, varsity, once tryouts have concluded, if there are tryouts, and you will receive an email informing you of this placement. Coaches will also be able to send information to you through email, which will really help for things like cancellations, time changes, etc. If you have any questions concerning this video, any BHS athletic policies, the online registration, or anything else, feel free to contact me at 593-0545. Thank you for taking the time to do this process, and go Chiefs.